Your mindset is the single most important factor in determining your success or failure. Look around. Everything in your life right now, the money, the job, the body, the respect, is exactly what you deserve. You're not broke because life is unfair. You're broke because you've accepted mediocrity. You're not overweight because of bad luck. You're overweight because you lack discipline. Success is not given, it's taken. You have to be aggressive and go after what you want in life. But most of you sit there scrolling, complaining, waiting for something to change. Guess what? Nothing will change unless you do. The world doesn't care about your excuses. You wake up every morning broke, stressed, and wondering why life hasn't handed you success. But let's be brutally honest. Your entire life is a reflection of your mindset. The way you think determines everything. The rich don't stay rich because of luck, and the poor don't stay poor because the universe hates them. A rich man's mind prints money, while a poor man's mind finds ways to spend it. That's the difference. It's not about the amount of money you start with. It's about how your brain operates. Look at how you spend your time. The moment you get a little bit of money, your first instinct is to waste it on something meaningless. You get paid, and instead of figuring out how to multiply that money, you rush to spend it on things that bring no value. A new phone, a night out, some useless gadget that impresses nobody but your own weak ego. You spend money like a consumer, not a producer. You live like the sheep that the rich control. Every ad you see, every sale you fall for, every useless item you purchase, it's all designed to keep you exactly where you are, trapped in the cycle of poverty. Rich men don't think like that. A man with a wealthy mind looks at money differently. The moment he touches a dollar, his only thought is, how do I make this multiply? He sees money as fuel, a tool to create more wealth. He's not chasing temporary pleasure, he's building empires. That's why the rich get richer, because they understand that money is just energy and they know how to direct it. But most of you don't direct anything. You float through life letting your emotions dictate your decisions, spending money the second it lands in your pocket, then whining about how unfair life is when you struggle to pay rent. You say you want to be rich. No, you don't. If you really wanted it, you wouldn't be watching movies every night. You wouldn't be going out on weekends wasting money on overpriced drinks. You wouldn't be buying clothes just to impress people who don't care about you. A rich man sacrifices comfort for growth. A poor man sacrifices growth for comfort. That's the difference. That's why the rich keep winning and the poor keep losing. The way you see money is the root of your failure. You fear losing it, so you hold on to it like a desperate fool, never investing, never risking, never growing. And when you do spend it, you spend it on nonsense that brings no return. You work a job you hate for money you don't know how to use, to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't even like. Then you sit there, confused as to why you're stuck in the same place year after year. You don't have a money problem, you have a mind problem. Until you fix that, nothing will change. You think rich men are lucky? You think they just stumble into success? No, they see the world differently. Every minute of every day, they are strategizing, they are studying, learning, making moves. They see opportunities where you see obstacles. They take action while you sit there overthinking and hesitating. The truth is, your life is a direct result of your decisions. If you're broke, it's because you've made broke decisions. If you're rich, it's because you've made rich decisions. There is no mystery, but here's the good news. You can change. The mind is a muscle, and if you train it properly, it can become a money printing machine. You don't have to stay in this cycle. You can reprogram yourself to think like the winners. You can teach yourself to see money as a tool, not a burden. You can stop making weak emotional choices and start making powerful, calculated moves. But it starts with killing the broke mindset that's been holding you hostage. From this moment forward, every dollar you touch should have a purpose. No more wasting money on useless entertainment. No more impulse spending just because you deserve a treat. No more being a pawn in a system designed to keep you weak. If you start thinking like a rich man, money will begin to flow toward you. If you keep thinking like a poor man, you will spend your entire life chasing scraps. The choice is yours. Let me tell you a story about two men who started at the exact same place in life. Same background, same resources, same opportunities. The first man, when he got his first paycheck, saw it as a reward. He felt like he had worked hard and now it was time to enjoy life. He bought himself a new phone, took his friends out for dinner, upgraded his car to something flashier. He didn't think about tomorrow, only today. He told himself he deserved it. He told himself he could always make more money later. But as the months passed, he found himself living paycheck to paycheck, stressed about bills, never getting ahead. No matter how much money came in, it was always gone just as quickly. The second man, on the other hand, saw his paycheck differently. The moment he got his money, he asked himself, how do I make this grow? Instead of wasting it on things that lost value, he put it into things that made him stronger. He spent it on books, courses, mentors. He learned about investments, businesses, high-income skills. While the first man was busy enjoying the illusion of success, the second man was quietly building real success. He sacrificed short-term pleasure for long-term power. And in a few years, while the first man was still struggling, still stressed, still trapped, the second man was free. He had built something. He had turned his mind into a money printing machine. This is the difference between the rich and the poor. It has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with mindset. One man sees money as a tool, the other sees it as a toy. One man understands that money must be multiplied, the other believes it is meant to be spent. That's why you see people who come from nothing and become millionaires while others stay broke their entire lives. It's not about where you start, it's about how you think. The poor mind is emotional, it reacts. It chases instant gratification. It spends money the second it's earned because it has no discipline, no strategy, no long-term vision. A poor man will complain about being broke while holding a brand new iPhone. He will say he has no money while standing in line for expensive coffee. He will waste his life working a job he hates just to afford things he doesn't need, all while blaming the system for his struggles. A rich man sees through the illusion. He understands that money is not about what you earn, it's about what you keep, what you invest, what you grow. You need to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a producer. Stop chasing the lifestyle of wealth before you have actually built wealth. The problem with most of you is that you want to look rich instead of actually becoming rich. You spend money trying to impress people who don't even care about you, trying to keep up an image that brings you nothing in return. Rich men don't waste money proving they're rich. They use money to get richer. The world is full of distractions designed to steal your money and keep you broke. Every advertisement, every sale, every social media post showing off luxury is a trap to make you spend. The system is designed to keep you poor by making you desire things that don't help you grow, and because you lack self-control, you fall for it every time. You tell yourself you need these things. You convince yourself that spending money is a sign of success, when in reality it's a sign of weakness. The more you spend, the more enslaved you become. But here's the truth. They don't want you to know that money is just a game. And once you understand the rules, you can break free. The moment you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an investor, your entire life will change. Instead of looking at money as something to spend, you'll see it as something to grow. Instead of fearing investment, you'll seek it. Instead of working for money, you'll learn how to make money work for you. And once you reach that level, life becomes limitless. The rich mind is not born, it's built. It's trained, it's developed through discipline, through sacrifice, through the relentless pursuit of knowledge and opportunity. If you want to escape the cycle of poverty, you need to start making different decisions. You need to stop acting like a poor man and start thinking like a rich man. Every dollar in your pocket is a seed. Plant it wisely or waste it and stay exactly where you are. The choice is yours. The biggest prison in the world isn't made of concrete and steel. It's not guarded by men with guns. The biggest prison is your own mind, and the system has built it perfectly to keep you inside. You wake up every day not realizing that you are a slave, not to a person, not to a government, but to a system designed to keep you poor. From the moment you were born, they programmed you. They told you to go to school, get good grades, get a job, save money, retire at 65. That's not a plan for success. That's a plan for control. They need you to be just smart enough to work, but never smart enough to escape. They give you just enough money to survive, but never enough to be free. And because you've been trained to think this way your entire life, you never even question it. You've been taught to fear risk, to avoid failure, to play it safe. They don't want you to invest. They don't want you to start a business. They don't want you to understand money, because the moment you do, the system loses control over you. They need you to be predictable. They need you to wake up, go to work, pay your bills, stay in debt, and keep consuming. And you obey like a good little worker, never realizing that you're building someone else's dream while yours rots away. But the real tragedy? They don't even have to force you. You do it willingly. You convince yourself that this is how life is supposed to be. You tell yourself that getting rich is for other people, that success is about luck, that financial freedom is just a fantasy. You've been brainwashed into believing that working hard at a job for 40 years is more secure than betting on yourself for 5. That's how they trap you, not with chains, but with lies. And the worst part, you feed the very system that keeps you enslaved. Every time you buy something you don't need, every time you finance a car to impress people who don't care about you, every time you waste money on distractions instead of using it to build something, you are not just a prisoner, you are your own jailer. The truth is the system is rigged, but not in the way you think. It's not designed to keep everyone poor. It's designed to keep the weak poor. The ones who are lazy, the ones who lack discipline, the ones who make excuses. But the strong, the ones who wake up, who see through the illusion, who refuse to play by the rules, they escape. Money is not a mystery. It is not luck. It is not something reserved for the privileged. Money is a game, and the rules are simple, but they don't teach you the rules. They don't want you to know that money flows to those who understand how to multiply it. They don't want you to know that wealth isn't created by working harder, but by thinking smarter. They don't want you to know that every dollar you earn is a soldier, and if you deploy it correctly, it will bring back reinforcements. A rich man's money works for him. A poor man's money works for others. Look around you. The richest men in the world are not slaving away at a job. They own things. They control assets. They invest in businesses, in real estate, in systems that generate wealth while they sleep. Meanwhile, you wake up every morning, trade your time for money, and then immediately give that money away to people who are already rich. Your landlord, your bank, the corporations that sell you nonsense you don't need. And then you wonder why you're broke. But here's the real secret. They cannot stop you from escaping. The doors are open. The knowledge is out there, but you have to make a choice. You have to decide that you are done being a slave. You have to be willing to go against everything you were taught, to unlearn the lies, to take risks, to fail, to learn, to fight for your freedom. The road is hard, but the reward is everything. Because once you break free, once you understand how money truly works, you will never be controlled again. The moment you stop thinking like a poor man, the moment you start treating money as a tool instead of a toy, your entire life will change. The world is full of men who will spend their entire lives trapped in financial slavery. But you don't have to be one of them. You can wake up. You can rise above. You can build the life they told you was impossible. But it starts with your mind. It starts with your choices. It starts today. Most people will spend their entire lives chasing money like a dog chases its own tail. They wake up, go to work, get paid, spend it all, and repeat. They never stop to ask themselves why they are always broke, why they never seem to get ahead, why their bank account is a constant source of stress. The reason is simple. They think like poor people. And as long as they think like poor people, they will remain poor, no matter how much money they make. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how you think. A rich man doesn't see money as something to be spent. He sees it as something to be multiplied. Every dollar that enters his hand is a tool, a weapon, a soldier that must go out into the world and bring back more. He doesn't waste it on nonsense. He doesn't buy things to impress people. He doesn't spend for the sake of spending. He deploys his money strategically, ensuring that it continues to grow and work for him while he sleeps. Meanwhile, the poor man spends every dollar as soon as he gets it. He upgrades his phone, he buys new clothes, he finances a car he can't afford. He thinks that the purpose of money is to be spent rather than invested, and because of this, he remains trapped, living paycheck to paycheck, working harder and harder, but never truly progressing. He doesn't realize that his own habits are the reason for his suffering. But the truth is, it's not entirely his fault. Society has trained him to be this way. The system wants you to spend. The system wants you to stay broke. That's why they push consumerism so hard. Every advertisement you see is designed to make you part with your money. Every marketing campaign is crafted to make you feel like you need to buy something. They don't care about your financial freedom. They care about keeping you locked in the cycle of consumption. The rich don't play that game. The rich understand that money is a means to power, not a means to pleasure. They don't buy liabilities, they buy assets. They don't throw their money away on distractions, they put it into vehicles that generate wealth. That's why the gap between the rich and the poor keeps growing. It's not because of some conspiracy, it's because the rich understand how money works and the poor do not. If you want to escape, you need to change the way you think. You need to stop seeing money as something you simply spend and start seeing it as something you must make work for you. Every dollar that enters your pocket should have a job. It should be invested, it should be grown, it should be multiplied. This is the fundamental difference between a rich mind and a poor mind. And here's the real irony. Most people don't even realize that their own mind is the biggest thing keeping them poor. They complain about money, they complain about not having enough, but they never take the time to actually learn about how money works. They refuse to educate themselves. They refuse to make the sacrifices necessary to build wealth. They'd rather stay comfortable in their ignorance than face the truth. But you're different. You're here because you want more. You're here because deep down you know there's another level to life. You know you weren't born to struggle, to barely survive, to live in fear of your next bill. You know you were meant for more. And the only thing standing between you and that reality is the way you think. The moment you shift your mindset, the moment you start treating money like a weapon instead of a toy, your entire life will change. You will stop wasting money on things that don't matter. You will stop making excuses. You will start moving with purpose, with strategy, with intent. And when that happens, success is inevitable. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your circumstances. It only cares about results. You can either continue playing the game like a pawn, following the rules they set for you, or you can rise above, learn the real rules of money, and play to win. The choice is yours. You have two choices right now. Continue living the way you always have, or wake up and take control of your life. Most people will never make that decision. They will keep wasting time, keep making excuses, keep playing the game on someone else's terms, and then one day they will wake up old, broke, and full of regret. They will look back at their life and realize they wasted it chasing things that never mattered, working jobs that never fulfilled them, and living in a system that was designed to keep them in place. They will realize they never truly lived, they just existed. But you don't have to be like them. You don't have to accept the life you've been given. You can choose to rise. You can choose to stop thinking like a poor man and start thinking like someone who is destined for greatness. Because the truth is, money is just a byproduct of power. And power comes from your mind, from your ability to see opportunities where others see limitations, from your discipline, from your relentless pursuit of what you want. The problem is that most people are too weak to handle this truth. They don't want to take responsibility for their failures. They don't want to admit that their situation is a direct result of their own actions. They want to blame the government, the economy, their upbringing, their bad luck, anything but themselves. And as long as they keep making excuses, they will stay exactly where they are. Let me tell you something. Nobody is coming to save you. There is no magical moment when life suddenly becomes easy. The only way to win is to become the kind of person who cannot lose. That means strengthening your mind, controlling your emotions, and understanding that your time is the most valuable asset you have. You don't waste it. You don't trade it for a paycheck that barely covers your bills. You don't spend it on things that don't serve you. You use it to build, you use it to create, you use it to become untouchable. A poor man spends money because he's chasing happiness. He thinks the car will make him feel powerful. He thinks the designer clothes will make people respect him. He thinks spending his entire paycheck at the club will impress women. But the rich man prints money because he understands that happiness isn't in the things, it's in the freedom. It's in waking up and knowing that nobody controls you. It's in having the power to say no. It's in knowing that your time is yours and yours alone. That is what you must aim for. Not temporary pleasure, not validation from people who don't even respect themselves. Real power, real freedom, but that only comes when you stop thinking like a slave and start thinking like a king. That only comes when you stop looking at money as something to spend and start looking at it as something to grow. The people at the top don't work for money. They make money work for them. They put it into businesses, into investments, into assets that keep producing more. They never let their money sit still. They don't waste their energy chasing after paychecks because they understand that the real game is about control. When you control your money, you control your time. When you control your time, you control your life. The moment you understand this, everything changes. You stop buying things you don't need. You stop caring about impressing people who don't matter. You stop living for the weekend, waiting for permission to enjoy your own life. Instead, you start moving differently. You start thinking differently. You start making decisions like a man who is going to win no matter what. Because at the end of the day, the world belongs to the ones who take it. The rich are not lucky. They are not special. They just understand something that most people never will. And if you want to be one of them, you need to start by changing the way you think. You need to start by controlling your mind, your actions, and your future. Most people will never do this. Most people will never even try. But you are not most people. You wouldn't still be here if you were. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop playing by the rules that were designed to keep you broke. Take control, print money, build your empire, or stay exactly where you are and watch someone else do it instead.